This Saturday morning action cartoon review comes from Memento Mori. Thank you for the request. Monster Rancher was a show at first I wasn't interested in as a little kid since I just saw it as another Pokemon ripoff. But one day, a friend of mine let me borrow the video game on the PlayStation. And then I realized the show was very different from what I've imagined, and kind of fun. Not only that, but the games seemed very interesting with the whole disc into monsters gimmick. So how does the anime hold up so many years later after the Pokemon fad came, went, and returned? Let's find out. The anime is driven into two series, which each consist of a story arc. Series 1 is fun but very episodic in the beginning, and only later does it get going with the story. The show does reek of the 90s anime dubs, from the voices to the censoring and dialogue in general. The show is nothing like Pokemon, however, is a lot more like a generic quest that many animes have. You have the big bad and his four generals, who are somewhat interesting, and eventually, of course, they are defeated. The show has fun twists and turns, and while never doing anything new, it keeps you interested. You get to really like some of the monsters during the show, like the Pokerap for the Pokemon anime. Monster Rancher also had one, and as much of a ripoff as it is, it's fantastic and makes you remember the Poke craze very well. Series 2 continues the mystery of the generic lost dad from the first series. That isn't great like with other animes, just because of the popularity of the show. Series 2 does a great job in actually doing things that the first series never finished addressing, which is a nice thing and more shows should strive for. Master Mo, who isn't a cow oddly enough, is the big bad of the series. The only one of the main cast which consists of is Mochi, Tiger, Swenzo, Hare, Golan, Genki, and Holly are on a quest to defeat, and they're called the Searchers. After the main cast is fairly interested and have enough personality, I like how they incorporated the changing combat disc gimmick. Some things were censored, including Hare having a gas fart attack, but apparently not much else, which is good. But in this series, he is only a head, which sucks, and he isn't as interesting as he was in the first part. We have a new cat and a big robot who are his new henchmen, and are at least interesting. Two of the big four return, and we see what happened to them sadly. They were not the most interesting two that returned. Series 2 gives you more time with the characters, and it works as well as a sequel series, adding a new adventure. Series 2 is much more like the games, which in turn makes it seem like Pokemon, since they do enter tournaments. Overall, if you're into Pokemon or like monster catching type of anime, then you can't go wrong watching this show. The video games made me very interested, and it should for you also. Monster Rancher gets a 7.8 out of 10. This is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.